One of the things that I also wanted to ask you as well, and regarding presidential politics, and I would like to get your view regarding this. This is a hypothetical scenario. You are now president of the United States, President Bragg, and you are now within your first 100 days. What are the top three policies that you would enact in your first 100 days? Now, they can be policies through legislation or they could be executive orders, however you wish to go.
Let's see. As much as an executive order can take place, let's see. Executive order, okay, that's an easy one. Pardon Julian Assange, pardon Ed Snowden. Just basically all the people who are being, probed by the U.S. government for being whistleblowers. Just go ahead and pardon them. I will probably not be president very long, and I'll be mysteriously,
mysteriously. Yeah.
I would say that as far as economics, I think that this been, I would say, honestly, labor law reform honestly, probably labor law reform, probably more than Medicare for All, strangely enough, because I think that if you can just repair the unions, it will make it easier to have build a universal healthcare system. And as far as the military is concerned, do something to eliminate funding abroad, especially countries that violates human rights, whether we're talking, no money for neo-Nazis, for enabling neo-Nazis in the Ukraine, no more money for apartheid Israel, no more money for genocide that's being committed by Saudis in Yemen, wherever the injustice takes place around the world, no more money, no money. That's one thing that can be done. I'm just kind of thinking on the top of my head right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I was thinking about, and Nick, my comrade from RBN, he said, and I thought this was brilliant. He said, when you are president of the United States, you are commander-in-chief of the armed forces. One of the things that he can do is slash the military budget at like 95% and pull and close all of down the military bases
around the world,
all the troops out from around the world. And I thought when he said that, I was like, I didn't think about that before. And I was just like, that's brilliant. But we all know if I did something like that, I get JFK'd.
We all would. Actually, my dad, who believe it or not, is a Republican. One day he told me if we did close down the bases around the world, he is one of those anti-war Republican types. He told me if we closed down the bases and we just had something like a basic Coast Guard, he actually thinks that nobody would actually mess with the United States if we mind our own business.
Wow. Well, the thing is that the only country that's really messing with anybody is the United States.
The United States is a bully. It's a bully. It just can't resist. They're getting mad over a silly balloon flying over American airspace from China, but we can build military bases, surrounding them, and we're getting upset because they may build a base. I guess they're planning to, or maybe they're just trolling the United States about building a base.
Trolling
that.
But here's the thing, though. Like, if you have your house and we are a whole family that is always strapped, and then we're living in houses like a few houses down, and we have guns pointed at your house, but then we move into houses closer to your house with guns pointed at your house, and then we move even closer and closer and closer, you're not going to be threatened by that. My question is, why in the hell wouldn't I? And so people look at places like Russia like, oh my God, they're being the aggressor. But in reality, who's the one pointing the gun? And then people will go, well, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Russia put missiles in Cuba. Yes, because the United States put missiles in Turkey first.
That's right. Absolutely.
So everybody talks about the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? And they'll talk about Cuba and Russia. But what about the United States and Turkey? Because the United States was the first one that they put that block in the face of Russia, and then they cocked the gun and said, now what?
Well, that's the thing right there. Everybody, okay, I'm not a Putin fan, but here's the thing. Why did they go and why did the invasion of Ukraine take place? Well, the West broke a lot of promises that was made to Russia, that these countries were not going to join NATO. And then little by little, they started joining NATO, and they forced in the 1990s all these austerity measures and forced privatizations of these former state-owned industry, and caused a lot of economic misery in Russia. It paved way for Vladimir Putin, whatever people may think of him. I got issues with Putin. I don't like the way he treats the LGBTQ community in Russia. But you know what? They are treated a hell of a lot worse in the Ukraine. That's the dirty little secret. They're the worst treated in Europe. They're the worst treated in the Ukraine, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Actually, you know what? Let me show this, because I saw this earlier today, and I was just like, dear God, people are blinded to the truth when it comes to, the forces in this war. And it is just, all right, I found it. I'm not sure if you saw this picture of a Ukrainian POW, but I'm going to show you now. And this is not an outlier. This person is more of the rule rather than.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So, people who say, oh my God, there are no Nazis fighting in Ukraine. This is the typical soldier that is in Ukraine that is being funded by our government with a blank check.
Exactly. And I knew about the Nazis going back to the year 2014 when the CIA toppled the government in the Ukraine. There was talking to media and mainstream news. We're not talking about alternative news. What have alternative media? We're talking about mainstream news that we're talking about neo-Nazis who are playing a role in the government of Ukraine, and so that's been going on. And then all of a sudden, nobody ever heard of Stefan Bandera yet. That's what they do. They honor Stefan Bandera in the Ukraine. They have street parades and all of this sort of thing that goes on. And they, as I said, they banned 13 political parties, many of them on the left. They banned collective bargaining. They banned the Russian Orthodox Church. And you compare Ukraine to Russia. Russia's more democratic than the Ukraine, and they're doing ethnic cleansing against ethnic Russians in the Donbass region.
Yeah, but people don't want to talk about that.
And the kill list. The kill list.
Sorry?
The kill list that they have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think they put Jimmy Dore on it.
Jimmy Dore, Aaron Mattei, Tulsi Gabbard, Glenn Greenwald. I mean, several Americans, Noam Chomsky, even a douchebag like Henry Kissinger.
They put Kissinger on there?
I guess one mellows with age. He actually favors negotiation.
That's crazy, right? Kissinger
is on the kill list.